experience of peace. We were having just such an amazing time of fellowship last night with a few friends, and just felt inspired to come and share that same tangible experience of our Abba's peace with our friends as well. And I hope all of you can hear us.
Maybe give a thumbs up if you can.
If you can hear us, yeah, a thumbs up or something would be great to see. So, where shall we begin? Maybe we'll just give a minute or two for some of our friends to join as well, and then we'll kick off.
It's okay.
Yeah, because it goes in the bottom.
Okay.
Wonderful. It seems like everyone can see us. There we go. We and hear us. We saw the thumbs up. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So let's start. There's that beautiful scripture in Philippians 4 where Paul says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in all things, through prayer, supplication, and thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the God of peace," my scriptures is on there, "will give you the peace, will guard your heart and give you the peace that surpasses understanding." You know, often we think that peace might come as a result of us thoroughly understanding. But Paul accessed the kind of peace that surpasses understanding. In fact, very often it is our obsession to want to understand, to get to grips with an idea or a situation or an environment that's the very thing that keeps us from accessing that peace. It goes so well with the scripture in, I think it's 1 Peter 5, where he speaks about, you know, cast all your cares upon him. It's 1 Peter 5 verse 4. Casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. And that's another instance where, you know, it's such an interesting choice of words to cast your cares. We are all more comfortable, I think, with nurturing our cares, with looking after them and thinking, what can we do about the situation? And there comes a time where we've got to actually realize that if we honestly in a relationship with an Abba who cares for us, and we come to that point where we realize that just thinking about the issue, thinking about the worry, thinking about whatever is making you anxious, that process of thinking about it is not going to do anything to bring you into peace. It's just going to draw you further into the anxiety. And so there's this beautiful picture that basically says there comes a time where you've got to cast that care aside, where you've got to realize, I've thought about this enough, and now I'm coming to a place where I simply make this anxiety, this care, known to my Abba, and in an act of trust, I cast it aside. And if I catch myself nurturing that care again, thinking about it, feeding it, I remind myself that I have cast this care upon the one who cares for me. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I just think there's so many different passages. You know, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you.
Yeah.
Colossians 3:15, let the peace of Christ, that inner calm, be the controlling factor in your hearts, deciding and settling questions that arise. To this peace indeed you were called as members in one body, and be thankful to God always. And I just think, peace is not some weak kind of passive thing, but peace is this strong persuasion that rises in your heart, that strong persuasion that would rise up in the middle of a storm and say, peace, be still.
Yeah.
It's the kind of strong persuasion that just brings turmoil and strife to an absolute calm and resolution. And that's the peace that we have, the privilege of partaking in, and it acting as an umpire, like a referee, blowing that whistle and going, hey.
What's allowed to enter your heart?
Yeah.
What's allowed to enter your mind?
Yeah.
It takes us back to Philippians 4, that says, what you're quoting now, therefore, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are pure, whatever things of good report, the referee says, they allowed to occupy your thinking. But those things that brings that underlying sense of anxiety again, that fear, they have no place within you. No, anxiety is that feeling that there's something missing, there's something not right, there's the dread of what could be if things don't work out. Now, peace is the very opposite of that. Peace in the midst of things looking as if it's all wrong, all out of order. Peace is that experience where despite the surface turbulence, like Jesus being asleep in that boat, despite the storm, he was sleeping because he somehow accessed that experience where everything is as it should be, where he knew that he was held, he was loved, where he knew that the one conspiracy that is beyond doubt true is that this whole universe is conspiring to love you, to bless you, to uphold you, to gather you into God's self, into God's bosom. Colossians 1 verse 15 says that in him all things consist. Why not in this very moment just become aware that in him every atom of your body is sustained, is vibrating with the creativity of God, with the one who has loved you into existence, the one who keeps you in existence moment by moment by moment, because he adores you, because your life excites him. That tangible peace, it reminds me of 1 John as well, where John starts writing saying, what we have heard, what we have seen, what our hands have handled concerning the word of life. It's so beautiful to realize that the tangible experience of this word of life begins with what you hear. Don't give your ear, don't give your eyes to the kind of junk that's going to steal and rob you of the peace that our Abba offers.
Yes.
So what, yeah?
A beautiful passage that I was just reminded of as you said that was, you know, in Proverbs where it speaks about incline your ear. And how beautiful that word incline is, because it's, if you can picture like a sailboat, that they would turn the sail to catch the full force of the wind. That's the kind of incline. That is, let your ear be turned to catch the full weight of what the Father is saying, and let what you hear move you, propel you. And you know, something that might kind of come up to some is, I know we're supposed to have this peace. How do I access this peace in the midst of my thoughts going incessantly, in the midst of being bombarded with bad news? How do I just access this within me? And I just think of, again, guard your heart above all else, for out of it springs the issues of life. And we have the opportunity, like Andrew was saying, to what do I nurture? What do I hold on to, and what do I let go? And there's that kind of just pondering, nurturing.
Good. I love that verse, because out of your heart springs these issues of life. In other words, we are not meant to simply reflect reality. We are not meant to simply absorb what is currently happening and then react to that. We've been invited to create reality, to join our Abba, give him our ear. It's like Paul in 1 Corinthians 5 saying, wow, all things of God. He sees this whole new creation. Now, the world did not change overnight. When Jesus died and rose again in the physical, but Paul suddenly sees the implication of this person of Christ coming alive in him, the message of love finding a root and a home within him. And the effect is that Paul sees a whole new creation and feels absolutely inspired to say, this is our message, to declare to a world who still thinks that they are broken, separated, to declare to them that God has taken the initiative to break down every boundary, every wall, everything that have kept you from experiencing this reconciliation, this reunion with God. God has done what needs to be done for you to come into that place of awareness again. And it is this message that then becomes reflected in Paul's ministry, in his writings, in his travels. Paul didn't go from city to city just reflecting what the latest news was in that city. He came with much better news. Something happened of much greater significance than anything else that was happening in his time. Something that could help every individual he meet to open their eyes and to realize that God was closer, more in love, more tangible than what they've ever imagined. That's good news.
Yeah, I thought as well of the whole idea of if you face a mirror to a scene of just angst and turmoil and darkness,
Yes.
you know, that mirror is going to reflect the environment. And it's no use saying, well, stop manifesting turmoil or strife or whatever, because that's where it's facing.
Yeah.
But just turn it around
Yes.
to face something beautiful.
Yeah.
And in that sense, we are reflections. We reflect what we see and what we understand, and how beautiful to be carriers of peace.
Yeah.
That this good news is brought forth on feet of peace and good and love and sure.
That brings us to Jesus' words as well, where, you know, Matthew 6, the classic place where he was speaking about our anxieties, you know, what we will eat, what we will drink, what we will wear. The beautiful way in which he draws our attention to the simplest of pictures, to the birds. We live near a bird sanctuary, and it's so interesting that they're absolutely clueless about world news, absolutely enjoying the care of their Abba that has always been constant. And Jesus draws our attentions to the birds, to the flowers. And when he makes such a powerful statement, you know, your value to your Abba so far exceeds anything you can imagine. And if he so cares for every bird, for every flower, that he's so involved in unfolding its beauty, so involved in feeding every bird, how much more does he care for you? Will he watch after you? So don't run after all the stuff that people who do not have a relationship with, or do not have the understanding that God loves them so much. He says they are the guys who runs and pursues and gets obsessed with and paranoid with what's happening, and they're the ones who just want to get more. But he says rather, occupy yourself with what occupies your Abba. The Message translation, let me try and find that. He concludes it so beautiful. In the Message translation, he says in verse 30 to 33, if God gives such attention to the appearance of wildflowers, most of which are never ever seen again, or never even seen, don't you think that he'll attend to you, take pride in you, do his best for you? Let that sink in for a moment. Your Abba takes pride in you, and he will do his best for you. What I'm trying to do here is get you to relax, to not be so preoccupied with getting, so that you can respond to God's giving. Very often we miss the possibilities and opportunities God brings our way because we are so obsessed with making our own way that we miss what is given freely. People who don't know God and the way he works fuss over these things, but you know both God and how he works. Steep your life in God's reality, God initiative, God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. Wow, Jesus, what a teacher you are. Thank you for those words.
Sure. And it's not being not aware of what's going on. It's not ignoring what's going on, being ignorant or being naive. but it's choosing to be occupied with what actually brings life.
Yes.
And what is actually going to change things for you. And sure, that beautiful part of don't be preoccupied with getting so that you can respond to God's giving.
Yeah.
This is God's initiative.
Yeah.
This is God's breath of peace and hope breathed into our very existence. And we just so wanted to just bathe in that with you all.
Yeah.
Just marinate in this peace and beautiful anchor for our souls.
Well, we're speaking about marinating. Why don't you serenade us with this song? It's
take it in, we close our eyes, we feel the warmth of your smile. You're the one who knows us from within. You see through our eyes. We take it in, open our eyes, we see the world through your smile. You're the one who knows them from within. You see through their eyes and you say, enjoy this moment. It is breathe in the fragrance of our love, for I am ready to live, ready to laugh. I am ready to love through your life. I'm so ready to see, ready to heal. I am ready to be through your beautiful life. Such infinite possibilities. For I'm hovering over your life in the midst of turmoil and strife, ready to make all things new. Oh, I love being in you. And you are our peace. You are our peace. You are our peace.
In peace I will both lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety and confident trust. Psalms 4 verse 8. You will keep in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. Isaiah 26 verse 3. We've read some of this before. I just so want to encourage you. You might have all experienced this, times where you've been working on your computer for hours or a few days without shutting it down, and suddenly things slow down and things might not quite work the way you want to, and then by simply shutting it all down, clearing the memory and starting it up again, things work better. And I think it's time for so many of us to just have a reboot. To go to that scripture in 1 Peter 5 verse 7 and say, Papa, I am casting these cares on you. I want a complete reboot. Jesus, I'm following your advice, and I'm going to just steep myself in God's reality, God's initiative, God's provision. So make a purposeful decision to take every anxiety, everything that you are occupied with in your mind, and say, I'm laying this down, and Papa, I want you to be the one that inspires my thoughts, to show me what to occupy myself with. And you'll be surprised at how many of the things that we thought are so essential were simply distractions from a greater beauty, a greater, more tangible reality.
And remember that as well, peace, it puts you in this state where you are quiet and grounded, where all things become possible. So I just wanted to add that thought, that peace is such a beautiful environment where you are in that quiet, still assurance, where all things, the God for whom all things are possible, is ready to birth beautiful realities for you.
Yes. Now, I think we could just stop there, or there might be a way for us to open it up for discussions. We saw all the kind of messages which were too many to actually read, but there's kind of options to, it seems, allow people to join in the conversation.
Maybe I should try and have a look here while we're going.
Or maybe we'll just leave it that way, and we'll play around with the technology for the future to see how to actually do it, to have more of a live discussion. Peace, friends. Enjoy your Papa's favor. Enjoy this universe conspiring to bless you, to love you into a future that God is excited about. Everything God does, He does through and with those in union with Him. And He desires nothing less than a whole new creation in which His beauty, in which His goodness, in which His love, His kindness is visible through you. Bless you all.
Peace.
Bye-bye.